Thanks for being out here in the quilting studio with me. I've got kind of a treat for you. I have Linda's quilt up here, and I actually have it on the presentation wall. So that's kind of a fun opportunity to be able to see it in its completed state, in its entirety. And today I just thought I would show you really quickly. When I get a quilt done, I try to be able to put it up here onto the presentation wall so that you can see it in all of its glory and what the creator had in mind. So we're going to have to back way up in order to be able to see the entire thing. It's 81 inches square. So we're going to get back here, and then I'll bring you up closer and show you what the specifics are with it. Linda created this for a friend that loves vintage, and she also loves sewing. And Linda fussy cut all of these little sewing blocks right here. Are they fun? Very vintage looking, the ideas to go with them. And then Linda is great about just creating her own pattern. You can see those beautiful florals here that are kind of calico-ish that she's put together in a way that might remind you of a grandma quilt. And then over here with the border, she's put these fancy little vintage shoes and brought those into some pinwheels to encourage the connection to go with all of this. Now, when you have something like this with pinwheels, you're going to want to be sure and press those seams open so that there isn't too much thickness in any one area. That can cause a lot of bulk otherwise. So that's something to be aware of. She's also known for her cornerstones. So a lot of Linda's quilts have cornerstones on them right there. Just kind of a wonderful way to add an additional to your quilt. The design I put on here is called My Roses 2, and it's a lovely, soft, vintage kind of a rose petal design that goes around and around. Now let me show you something else. In the backing that she has here, she started with this white fabric, but as she got along and there wasn't as much fabric, she actually put a huge swath in the center. That's also something that Linda can be known for, which is just magnificent. But you can see she's incorporated this kind of a filigree, which goes along with the sashings and borders on the front side of the quilt, so incorporating that same black sashing and border that she had on the front, so a lot of good incorporation. And then look at this, she's put a shadow box in the center all the way through it. What a beautiful back that she has right here, and then incorporating that same vintage rose fabric, kind of that mauvey rose fabric right there. When you have a backing that you're putting extra pieces on like this, you need to make sure that it is very well pressed, that the tension is excellent on it. Otherwise it can cause bowing on the back side of the quilt. When I'm putting it on the quilt machine, I just don't have as much control over the back as I do on the front. So I actually chose to run her quilt horizontal in this fashion because I didn't want to have any gaping on the back when it came to this this addition that she had put onto the back of the quilt. So that was the way I chose to run it. And so technically the top of the quilt was over this way, and that way I could balance it between all of that fancy backing that she put on. You can see there's that backing. I could balance it between it and keep that bowing from happening as much as possible. Questions, thoughts, go ahead and put them in the comments below. Take a minute to like and subscribe. It does make a big difference to get beautiful quilts out to people where they can get a lot of happiness in their lives as well. Maybe you'd like to make a quilt like this or anything similar. Ask me some questions. Let's get started with it. I try to bring you these quilts not only to inspire you, but to answer any questions that you might have. So if you have some, let me know. Let's pop them down there. Let's start a conversation. I take quilts by mail all the time. The intake form is very easy. Just take a minute to pop something in the conversation and we will get started on it. Have yourself an amazing day, because I know I will.